Let's talk about medicine real quick. All right. Like, medicine is one of the biggest epidemics that we actually have in this world, in this country. And I think it's important that we have a discussion about it. Now, I will start off by saying I am not a medical professional. Okay, I'm not here giving you medical advice. I am merely here for entertainment purposes. I am a certified detoxification specialist and just sharing my thoughts and philosophies based on my studies of naturopathy. So, getting that out the way right from the jump. But this discussion needs to be had because it's imperative, that we truly understand what we're putting inside of our bodies and why we're putting it inside of our bodies. When we think of the concept of medicine, we've been conditioned and kind of programmed and brought up to look at medicine as, something to ultimately help you, to keep you alive, to, be for the betterment of you from a healing perspective, without really understanding the underlying cause and whatnot. So when I say medicine versus fruit, what I'm talking about is the impact that each one of those entities, whether it be medicine or fruit, have on your body and its impact to ultimately help you heal, right? So if you kind of look at the medical industry and you kind of look at healthcare in general, specifically in this country, in America, it's a very reactive type of system. We go to the doctor in cycles, right? During different seasons or one time a year or periodically, whatever the case may be. And we rely on the information that we receive from our practitioners. And then we also rely on their advice based on the diagnosis that we receive in those meetings, right? And then we kind of stay the course based on what these medical professionals kind of put in place for us, right? Whatever plan they have us on, whatever advice they're giving us and whatnot. And then it even goes further than that because you have government entities, whether that be like the Food and Drug Administration or all the different programs that the government puts in place to either recommend a certain type of diet or recommend a certain type of vaccination schedule, whatever the case may be. Like, we rely on those things. These are systems that have been put in place. The worst part about this is that the educational system that's put in place, to educate us from a very young age doesn't really help us understand health. I mean, health isn't even like a mainstay subject in school. In most places, it's just an elective. Therefore, people don't even have to take health. And even if they did take health, who's teaching it and what's the curriculum behind it? You feel what I'm saying? So that's when I say this is a very deep discussion. So hopefully you're here with me right now and listening and understanding where I'm coming from here, because this is imperative for the betterment of humanity. If you go back over 100 years ago, roughly around 1910, if I'm not mistaken, do some research on the Flexner Report and what the Flexner Report ultimately caused and created, the ripple effect of it in the healthcare world today. It's basically where they put the standard of what health was going to be in this country and how our practitioners were going to be educated. And in order to get a license, you had to follow a certain guidelines and certain path, which really pushed out a lot of the naturopaths and the homeopathic type of healthcare, and health advice and mindsets and whatnot, right? When you really research that and kind of see where it went, you really get a clear picture of why we are where we are today when it comes to healthcare. And if you look at and I'm talking specifically America here, the mortality rates of us versus other countries, other developed countries, when you look at the type of diseases that we get here versus what they get, let's say in the East, you really start to look at, okay, well, what is the reason behind this, right? What is the cause of all this? And it really comes down to our reliance on medicine versus our reliance on nature. So when I say medicine versus fruit, what I'm saying is it is a conscious choice that we are making that has these effects in play. Because if you look at sickness in general, right? So let's get to the most basic elements of this. If you look at sickness in general, when you get a cold or you have a fever, these are very small, acute things that happen, right? Cold, fevers, flus, things like that, right? What the media, what commercials, what healthcare tells us, okay, well, we have remedies for that, right? You can take some Dayquil. You can take some Mucinex. You can, if you can't sleep, take some NyQuil, cough syrup, all these different suppressants. But what is actually happening when we're having colds and flus? Colds and flus, we are expelling excess mucus from our body. Okay, well, why is the mucus there in the first place? Well, your body creates mucus to protect vital organs, to protect your body from foreign chemistry, things that aren't supposed to be inside your body, mainly the things that you eat. Not always what you eat, because it's the air that we breathe, right? It's the chemicals that we're exposed to, but your body creates that mucus to protect. Okay. Well, when you have excess mucus, that obviously means that your body is protecting you from a lot of toxicity. Well, your body is ultimately going to have to get rid of that excess mucus because mucus is acidic. It's not good for your body. And there's two sides of chemistry. And I talk about this a lot, shout out to Dr. Morse, right? There's the acidic side, which is corrosive, which is destructive. And then there's the alkaline base side, which is the balancing side, which is regenerative, which is life-giving, which is building. So when your body has excess mucus, your body wants to get rid of it eventually. That's where the colds come into play. That's where the flus come into play. But when we suppress those things, we stop those things from being expelled. We stop the coughing. We stop the runny nose, all these different things. We stop the sore throats, all these different things. We're suppressing it. And when we suppress, those acute issues become chronic issues, or should I say subacute, and then chronic issues. So those colds and flus turn into things like pneumonia. You feel what I'm saying? But that is the mindset of us in our culture right now, is to treat, is to be reactive, is to live in a microwave society where we get instant gratification of feeling better, not understanding that the pain that we're feeling is in the healing. We suppress that, we're not healing anymore. We are merely treating. We are passing the buck. But ultimately, that bill is going to come due. When we have fevers, because I think there's more of a misconception around fevers than almost any other quote unquote sickness. What is your body doing when you have a fever? It's heating you up. Why? Because what do you do when you're hot? You sweat. And what comes out of your body when you sweat? Think about it. You are detoxing. You are getting rid of acids. You're getting rid of mucus. You're getting rid of things inside your body that no longer need to be there or don't need to be there in the first place. But when we suppress those fevers, what are we doing? We are keeping it trapped inside of our body. And it builds and it builds and it manifests into things down the line. This is the mindset of the typical individual, but not you, right? Not you. You understand this. You want to make that conscious choice, right? You want to choose the fruit over the medicine because you want to cure. You do not want to treat. Now, when we're talking about fruit, how does that correlate? How does that equate to, or how is that the antithesis of medicine? Well, it's all about allowing your body to do what it was designed to do. because you are powerful. They've tried to take that away from us, but you are extremely powerful. Your body is extremely powerful when given the right conditions. But we've been eating such unhealthy diets for so long that we have ultimately given our body the worst possible conditions, because our body is working so hard just to digest and protect and keep itself running while consuming horrible fuel. It doesn't have the excess energy to heal. It doesn't have the excess energy to rebuild tissue. So our organs and our body, our bodily functions and things of that nature suffer in the process. They continue to deteriorate because they're full of acids. So that's where the fruit comes into play, because the fruit is the most energy efficient food on the planet, bar none. Meaning that when we eat fruit, we get a high amount of energy. The most electrical food on the planet is fruit. High energy. And we are electrical beings. We need the energy. We need the electricity. We need the hydration. And it causes the least amount of burden on your body to digest and function. So you get net excess energy. And when your body has net excess energy, it has the ability to repair, to heal, to regenerate, to revitalize. And that's where the true healing comes into play, whatever you're dealing with. So medicine versus fruit. The next time you're dealing with something, you get a diagnosis, or you're seeing something manifest, whether that be eczema or pimples or anything that you could physically see or that you're physically feeling. Look to the diet first. Why? Because allowing your body the necessary energy, it's going to fix those issues eventually. Is it going to fix it automatically, instantly? No. Because understand, energy return on energy invested, meaning if it took you 15 years to cause something, you're not going to change it overnight. It's going to take time. That's why I say talking about eating raw fruits and a fruitarian type diet isn't a diet. It's a lifestyle. They're habits. And those habits create positive effects, right? They manifest positive reactions versus manifesting negative ones. It's for the betterment of you, not the detriment of you. But when you take medicine, you're basically passing the buck, right? If you're dealing with, if you have high blood pressure, right? And it's at a state where your doctor tells you, man, you need to take some pills because it's your blood pressure's pretty high. Now you're relying on foreign chemistry input into your body to regulate something. So what happens is your body starts creating the things to help regulate it naturally. So that means you're stuck on that pill for the rest of your life, unless you make the changes and get off the pill. You understand? Now, some might say, well, if I got to take the pill the rest of my life, at least, I can eat the way I want to eat and I'll stay on the pill, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but people don't understand the effects of the pill. Yeah, the pill may help regulate something, but the pill is foreign chemistry. It's acidic. All right, so it's causing other issues. Understand that anything externally that is not natural to the body is going to cause a negative effect in one way or the other. You might not see it immediately, but it's happening. We have so many cognitive issues in this world right now, especially with the children. And what do we want to do? We want to put them on ADHD medication, depression, anxiety medication, instead of looking at the diet, instead of feeding them Fruit Loops and fucking Fruity Pebbles and Apple Jacks. Why don't we give them an apple or an orange or some bananas and base their entire diet on the food that's been provided by nature that coincides and that is symbiotic with us? But that's not how we've been trained. That's not how we've been programmed or conditioned on a daily basis. You don't see commercials for fruit and things of that nature. Even though corporations own the majority of the farms, they still don't push the sale or the energy towards fruit and foods that are actually good for you, because it doesn't align with the other systems in place. It doesn't align with the medical system. It doesn't align with big pharma, and it doesn't align with the insurance companies. Like, they're all in conjunction with each other. That's why it's up to you to start making these changes and change your family's habits. Break those generational curses. Because the diet comes first. It's the foundation of the health and the betterment of humanity. It's the diet. We are in such dire straits in a myriad of different ways. Physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. And all four, it all funnels down to diet. You're dealing with mental health issues. Yeah, we go through traumatic things that obviously spark and cause some serious mental health issues. There's no doubt about that. But the diet is the core foundation of allowing the body to work at its best. Because once we give our body the correct conditions, once we, in a way, it's like we get out the way. You know, I tell people a lot that being healthy isn't about what you're eating. It's really about what you're not eating. Because food doesn't heal you. Your body heals you, but you just got to get out the way. That's why fasting is so powerful. Because when you're fasting and you're not digesting anything, therefore you're not using any energy, your body's got the full gamut. The body could use the full gamut of nerve energy to heal anything. But it's a mindset thing. I know a lot of people, you know, in the age demographic of, you know, let's just say from 40 to 60, you know, because I talk to a lot of people in that age range. And one of the main things they tell me is I just want to stay off medicine. I want to do what I can to stay off medicine, but not fully understanding that they have the power to control that. You know, like, it's a mindset thing first, because look, you get off this video and you start to have a headache. The first thought is, oh man, does anybody have any Excedrin, Tylenol, Aleve, something of that nature, right? Because you don't want to feel that pain anymore. Not understanding there's an underlying issue beneath that pain. Maybe your eyes are tired. Maybe you're dehydrated. Maybe your body's sending you a signal that you're building up a little bit too much acidity. So we need to calm down, maybe not eat for a while. All these different things, right? But no, we want to jump to the Excedrin. We want to jump to the Tylenol. Not understanding that we're suppressing and ignoring the signal. In addition, adding foreign chemistry, acids to our body, which are at the detriment of our body, which are corrosive, destructive, which will ultimately build up and cause specific type of issues. I mean, you hear and see all the side effects that they put on medicine. I mean, they say at 10,000 miles an hour, or put it in such small print, you need like some type of NASA type telescope or magnifying glass to even see it, but it's there. The reason is because none of these things give you something and not take something away on the back end. The remedies, they are things that are going to give you a short-term fix. It's no different than what they consider recreational drugs. It's the same thing, same concept. And different levels. Yeah, of course, different levels. But I think it's very simple to say that you understand that investing is something that is a positive. It's something that's something that can help you in your life, whether that's financially or whatever the case may be. It's no different than your body. So yeah, taking Excedrin may not do anything to you today, but what type of investment is that? You understand what I'm saying? Like, my people in the stock world, that's like taking a short on yourself. You're shorting yourself because you know things are about to go downhill. That's what you're doing when you take medicine like that. And I'm not here to say that medicine doesn't have any purpose. I wouldn't say that. You know, there are certain emergency situations where medicine may be needed, surgery situations where medicine may be needed. I'd always venture to say go on the natural route for that. But at the end of the day, it's, you know, still foreign to your body. But the point is on your day-to-day, you have control over the health of your body. You have control over your weight. You have control over what's manifesting outside your body or inside your body. And it starts with what you input into your body. All right. The toxicity elements, what type of, are you wearing perfume every day? What type of soaps are you using? Are you using soap? Are you using shampoo? Like me, I don't use any shampoo. I don't use any soap. I clean myself with water, filtered water. Like, I don't use any Wi-Fi, all these different things. Now, am I perfect? No, not by any means, because control what you can control. There's certain things I can't control that I have to use in order to be able to make this video. I have to use, you know, some form of electricity. In order to have electricity, you have to use electricity. Things of that nature, right? I can't control the air that I'm breathing. But control what you can control, then put yourself in the best position. But at the end of the day, when I'm talking about all these other things, diet comes first. Fruit over medicine. No matter what it is. If you're having chronic headaches, if they told you have chronic bronchitis, if they told you have an autoimmune disease, because if you dig deep, and I can expand on any of these things and make videos on any of these diagnoses, anything. I think there's like 26,000 different possible diseases and sicknesses. The last number I checked. You put one of them in the comments and I can make a video about it and let you know exactly what's really happening and why you might benefit from choosing fruit over medicine or surgery or anything along the sorts. All right? Because at the end of the day, your body's more powerful than any medicine out there. Your body was built to regenerate. Your body was built to heal itself. You go cut yourself tomorrow, as long as you don't interfere with your body's process of recovery, it's going to heal that cut. That's what the body does. So allow the body to do what it does. It is amazing. It is magical. But unfortunately, as in man, has tried to outsmart nature. And that is one of the biggest mistakes that we've made in the last, 500 to 1,000 years. And if you're talking diet, possibly even further than that. But you never really know because some of these stories you get and historical records have all been fabricated, this, that, and the other, and empires and all that stuff like that. All right. So no matter what it is, right? If you look at, I was bringing up autoimmune diseases. If you look those up, if you really do research on what an autoimmune disease is and when it was founded and how they came to the conclusion of basically stating that the body is attacking itself, which goes against every law in nature, you'll realize that it's somewhat of a cop-out. Right? It's somewhat of we really don't know what's going on here. So the body must be attacking itself, which, like I said, goes against every law in nature because the body's only job and only focus is survival. Survival. To get you to a state of balance, to help you survive. If you're dealing with a bunch of stuff, but, and one of those things might be your eyesight, your body may allocate energy somewhere else to help you survive, because eyesight isn't imperative. Like, you can live without your eyesight. Your body's going to do whatever it takes to survive, even meaning getting rid of the weaker tissue, the weaker aspects, just like it does in nature. It's going to do whatever it has to do to help you survive, to live, to breathe, to not expire. And understanding that concept, just that in itself, will help you realize that the body would never attack itself. Autoimmune diseases are acidic issues. That's what they are. Every sickness, every diagnosis will funnel down to toxicity / acidosis in the body. Whether they want to say it's genetic, whether they want to call it this name or that name, that's what it will funnel down to. Like I said, put any sickness, any issue into the comments section and we can talk about it. But back to the main thing, which is fruits versus medicine, medicine versus fruit. And I say fruit over medicine because your body is the ultimate healing. That's how you are proactive instead of reactive. That's how you heal and cure instead of treat. That's how you clean yourself out instead of passing the buck and letting these situations build up and manifest into something bigger down the line. That's why you should appreciate the cold, appreciate the flu, appreciate the fevers, because that means your body is working. If you know you're eating a bad diet and you never have a cold, you never have the flu, you never have a fever, that's a bad sign. That's a very bad sign. That means that your body doesn't even have the excess energy to create a healing crisis like a flu or a fever. All right? Energy, energy, energy. You want as much energy as you want. Eat the most energetic fruits that leave you the most net amount of energy after digestion. You want hydrating foods that are going to keep your body flowing and help you dilute any acids that you do have within your body. And you're going to put yourself in the best position to be healthy. And as far as weight goes, look, you can be skinny and not healthy. But if you're healthy, you're going to be skinny. And what I mean by skinny is you're going to be the correct body weight. You're going to get yourself, on that path. You're going to lose weight, right? Weight loss doesn't mean health, but health usually means weight loss. All right? But if you are going to lose weight, you do it the natural way, okay? Not the medicine way. So put those in the comments, put those diagnoses in the comments. Let's talk about it. Let's break this stuff down, all right? And I love to hear your thoughts. Maybe you disagree with me. I love that. Let's dialogue about it. I love that as well. But ultimately, understand that your diet is the most imperative thing when it comes to your health, okay? There's no medicine that can overcome that or can top that. There just isn't, bar none, all right? Hey, if this resonated with you or and if you know somebody that maybe is dealing with something that could really, listen to this and learn from it, give me a thumbs up, share this. And make sure you subscribe to the channel as I dive deeper into the natural diet and share my journey to a fruit-based diet and all the benefits and even the struggles that I deal with and whatnot. But please join my journey. But like I said, those thumbs up mean so much because that helps get the video in front of more people that could really benefit from hearing this, because most people don't understand it. Like I said, if you get off this video and you have a headache, most people are going to do what? They're going to go to medicine, right? They start having a sore throat. What are they going to do? They're going to try to treat it instead of allowing the body to do what it does so it doesn't manifest into something bigger later on. So hope you enjoyed this and enjoy the day. It's beautiful. Well, at least out here it is. Peace, love, and light, everybody. I'm out.